Not my minor.
The Consumer Price Index. We're going to dive into it in today's show. Welcome back to the channel where we build financial power. My name is Matt, and this is
Potter.
Appreciate you sliding by. We're documenting our journey down this DeFi financial power road. Hope you'll tie along with us and see where we head with this, but documenting the process is what we want to do. Today we're talking about CPI, which is a brand new term to me. I had to Google it beforehand. Consumer Price Index. Before we dive all the way into it, though, Pada, how you feeling over there?
Hey, I'm doing good. This is the part of the thingy where I go, hey guys, we're just here, like Matt said, documenting our life through this crypto thing. Matt's in one of those phases where he's like, what are we doing? But that's what he see his t-shirt. That's what he trusts the process, and he's here, right? But going back to it, this is not financial advice. We're starting to hear a lot more people tell people don't get into crypto, because it's such a gamble. So that's really it. I'm doing okay.
All right, I'll take it. So why did your brain go to this CPI, Consumer Price Index? So again, I did a quick little Google search, which Consumer Price Index is ultimately what the consumers, the common person, or I guess any consumer, for anything retail. And ultimately what that ties into, I think, is inflation. I think that ultimately ties into inflation. That's what we're talking about. So what brought you to this topic, Potter? Because you came up with this.
Because what you see right now is so much fear and doubt and uncertainty. The reason that, when Scott found me, the guy who got me into crypto, and he was showing me is that all of this stuff was happening last year. So everything that we see, all of this forecasting, it was already there. So when I look at inflation numbers and you hear about it, you can say, well, this was happening last year and it wasn't talked about, but now it's already too late to happen. Yes. Okay. It's just like crypto. When you hear about it on the news,
it's too late.
Invest in, yes, it's too late.
Yep.
Right. So what's happening now is you're having what could be an all-out attack on crypto. The bond market is paying people guaranteed 4.5% for a 10-year lockup of your money. Some people are saying it's going to get to 5%. That flies in the face of, come on, guys, don't you want to buy our debt versus this high-risk crypto asset? And people are going, no. Because everything that they've done, raising the rates, it would have sunk any other industry by now. The money would have been gone. It would have been all sucked out. There should be no risk capital available for anyone. So why is crypto holding on? So when you take a look at the CPI and you're going, well, it said it went up 0.4%. Okay. Did you get a 0.4% raise last month? Nope. Right? So that meant that your costs are still going up. The Fed is saying, look, we are at the highest point we've been for 40 years with this stuff. And we know the way it goes. If we don't get prices down, people will be out on the street. So we're going to force people to be out on the streets in what could be an organized manner because the prices are going too high. The thing is, going back to the first part of the conversation, you're a year late. So I said a lot.
Okay.
What
goes first is, so a year ago, things were being put in place to feel what we're feeling, see what we're seeing now in the markets. Is that right?
A lot of people were ignoring it. You were saying television about, going to the moon and, Bitcoin's going to be at 100,000 and Tesla, is going to be at 1 zillion. The economy is going to completely take off. The supply chain problem is going to end. But what it showed to me was there might be, and again, this is why we say it's not financial advice. this could be a financial collapse because people are not paying attention to the words versus the data. The data is saying the dollar is in trouble.
Okay.
Everybody else is saying, look how strong the dollar is. Now, if you go back and look at history, like Venezuela, their currency got way too expensive. So their own dollar, people wanted to buy their goods, but they couldn't afford them because it cost American dollars to buy it. Well, in Venezuela, the same thing. People wanted to buy their goods, but they had to convert their dollars or whatever to buy Venezuelan dollars. It was too expensive.
Okay.
So what happens when you can't sell? You have inventory. Your inventory starts to build up, but you also can't pay your workers. So you have to lay off your workers. Now, if inflation is still going up while you're starting to realize, hey, I can't sell goods anymore. Uh-oh. But what happens when somebody's enforced some ideal of quantitative tightening, which is the Fed raising up those rates, that doesn't notice, hey, it's starting to come down. Oh, we're still going to tighten. Okay, this is a Titanic kind of thing. You can't say, okay, you know what? We're going to add money back into the economy. I can't just hire people like that. I've got to go to a bank. I've got to get a loan. I've got to get a proof of the loan. Then I've got to go through a hiring process after I've got the people.
So it takes time.
So what we saw last year was, hey, the scenario for this year is kind of looking a little sus. Like 2022 does not look like it's going to be good. In 2023 might be even worse. So why keep just the currency of what's going to collapse by the numbers, right? If you look at historical data, if you look at trending, it says, hey, the dollar's going to have a real hard time. But what we're seeing right now is the dollar's at an all-time high. And where people go, yay, no. The reason why we were selling so many goods overseas is because the dollar was so cheap. People could buy stuff in dollars. So we were able to send stuff overseas. And now we cannot. So that's why these numbers and these reports are huge. Now I said a lot of good.
Well, so you said the Venezuelan currency it plummeted in price and all that. What a roundabout time frame. When was that? Was that 50 years ago? Just so I have some sort of context.
I think it was in the 70s.
Okay, got it. So around.
I know that when I replay it, the videos that I remember, I'm pretty sure they were in color.
Okay, gotcha.
It was old color,
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it was in the 70s, maybe 80s. But it's just a scenario that repeats itself all throughout history.
Sure. Cycles.
Yeah, and then you have the interesting news about, are they going to release their own their own token?
Right.
So does that mean, hey, let's spike out the dollar now so we can get this going and fund it?
Yeah.
Maybe a brilliant move. I don't know.
Yeah.
But when we take a look at DeFi and the way that we're working with crypto, it doesn't necessarily affect it because all of the hits that are coming at this world that we're in aren't affecting it to the point where it's outperforming the down of the other stuff. It's moving in alignment with everything else. And when everything else recovers, it recovers with it. That means that it's not being taken out. The crypto is truly a huge threat to centralized finance.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand it yet. So they see it as a threat.
So much of where my head goes to is the trust aspect of those, consumers, of those retail consumers. And I think the reason people are in DeFi is because of trust, a trustless system. That's where they want to be. It is run off a blockchain. It's unless it's a rug, you have more opportunity of, autonomy to manage things yourself. And it's not being held by one centralized place. So where my head went to with that was oh, that'd be incredible. If the US launched their own token or something like that. But then immediately my head went to, it would be awesome, but at the same time, it would be centralized. And I can't help but wonder, would there still be corruption and inflation? And this is basically all of the good pieces that we see of DeFi not being utilized in a centralized market, centralized context,
Right. I think it's a great question. I think that if you look throughout history, which I've been doing a lot lately, even back 4,000 years ago, when you take a look at it, people go, I'm tired of being under a tyrant. I'm tired of being under a king. I'm tired of being, and then they get what they want, and then the bad guys come in and they say, hey, we need police.
Yeah.
So the big thing was, man, decentralized means that they can't come after us because we're not any government trying to run anything. We don't know each other. We're not organized. And the bad guys were like, yeah, exactly. So they took advantage of it. And that's what would happen. So you're right. It's like, here's the good of them doing that. Here's the bad of them doing that. But I think it's more good that they're going to participate. It makes it easier for people to pay their taxes. It makes it easier for businesses to go, I'll adopt that. I got a weird message from Binance.us. Would you like to get your paycheck in crypto? I'm like, what? It's not that they were offering the service to say, hey, we can do it now, but they were taking a poll because that's coming.
Okay. Interesting.
Right. So now you've got a high inflation rate. You've got a high dollar. You've got cryptocurrency. For the first time in history, you have an international currency that can outweigh the control of the centralized banking system that does things horribly, right? Because when there was so much alacrity, when there was so much money going in and out of everything last year, why didn't you raise rates in 2021? Why, when there's a war, everything literally looks like it's going horrible, why would you use that now? Because you're playing with old technology that makes you wait until, okay, everybody, let's get together at 8:30 in the morning.
Okay.
We don't do that for TV shows anymore.
So you're saying, well, you're saying from the too much time, the processing, all that, versus, if you had some sort of crypto where things are lightning fast in comparison, do you think that's not the only reasoning? You think it's also a old school mindset or reactive mindset rather than proactive?
Yeah, I think that what the world can see is that the centralized banking system as it stands is probably going to collapse.
Okay.
And so if you don't have a crypto commerce set up, your country is going to be screwed.
Yep.
Right? Because you're going to still be using dollars. And then America is going to be off dollars.
Yeah.
So we got a message.
Yeah, and that ties into, go ahead. Hey, Errol, what's happening?
Yeah.
What's happening? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well, good sir. Hope you're doing well. So this is, I think this ties in the same thing. Me, I'm always thinking about utility, and if something doesn't have utility, or at least future utility, good luck. And that's one thing I've been developing and trying to watch and be patient with Drip and then the animal farm, and understanding the utility that is coming. I think it's taken me much longer to realize that you invest in a startup if something has future utility, but you definitely have to trust the process in that. I say all that to say, I was out of town recently, and my wife and I went whitewater rafting. And when we were there, we were, getting all suited up and we had to lock our keys and our phone up because we were going down a river, obviously. And I meant to send it to you. I was struck immediately. They said, all right, go lock your stuff up. You need to get about $1 and exchange it for our tokens to put it into the coin. But it was an old school, physical coin. It wasn't crypto. But when I saw it, said $1 for 3 tokens. And I was like, oh my God, that is crypto. I was struck with that. And I meant to send it to you, and I'm going to still send it to you, but I was like, that's unbelievable. That is literal utility. All you got to do is you're just digitizing it. And
Correct.
That whitewater rafting place has their own thing. So that utility right there, it was such an aha moment for me of so many more things than I know that myself sees, and I think the common person as well does not see. Just seeing that utility, but I think that has to be there for that mass adoption and belief, because to a majority of people, Potter, you and I sound like we're way out there talking about the US and starting their own crypto and all that. It's way out there for a lot of people. So I think that trust comes from seeing more utility and seeing it more utilized. People at one point thought Bitcoin was like a magic fairy dust, and that's a bunch of crap. It's been around for so long that it's so much more adopted now that you see big companies using it. So I say all that to say, I wonder, do you think building trust with some sort of DApp for the US, do you think that there has to be a boatload of utility for people to either adopt it, believe it, or do you think it just has
okay. How are you? No product works ever in the history of ever if it doesn't solve a problem.
Exactly.
Right? So when I was sitting in 1997, when I was sitting on the couch with my friend in New York City, and a television commercial came on, I'm like, at the bottom of that commercial, in the future, you're going to see www.pepsi.com. He goes, why?
Why? Yeah. Why?
They need that. I'm like, because, and so I had to explain it to him. People are going to one day put all of their information that's in their store on their site, so that you don't have to walk down the street to go anywhere. Exactly. You're going to be able to go on your computer and click on something and it'll show you. And he was like,
that's bananas in his head. Absolutely. What? Yeah, absolutely.
How are people? I use a computer now to go and do Word documents. How am I going to go look at a catalog online?
Absolutely.
I was like, yay! Yeah.
So true. So true.
Right. I was so happy. And he was like, I'm not ever going to trust anything online. Yay. Yep. Right. So what's happening now is people understand we're going crypto. And the banking industry has already put the stuff there that they can use the little apps to pay for things, quickly, but it changes it into dollars.
Yeah.
What's happening now is what you're seeing happen around you is just like the creation of websites. You're starting to see these capabilities where people can say, man, I'm so tired of these stupid tokens into the dollar. I wish I could just get an app that I could do that. Oh, hey, there's this drip app.
Yep.
Oh God, this is cheap. Hey, I can just do that. Hey, look, I can make money from this.
Yes.
But people don't understand it yet.
Yeah.
You're correct. You are so early. Remember what I was saying to you last year? I said, you are so early. It hasn't even started yet. Yep. People don't understand. And one of the things that we can guarantee people don't understand is this huge dip. There's another reason why money is going away, because people are reinvesting in the whole crypto atmosphere that they weren't sure was going to be here. Yep. Now they see this infrastructure is going to last. There's going to be a point where in the Library of Congress, you're going to have a blockchain. You're going to have to, because otherwise you're not going to be able to prove that history was true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yep. So now, wait a minute. I just went from making money to the Library of Congress. Yes, there's all kinds of applications that have yet to be explored that are going to happen. Big money already sees this, right? So when I see this whole CPI, yada, yada, I look at what are our crypto assets doing? For you and me, we know one of them is going up, went up 15%, while others have gone down 22% in the past 7 days.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not like they're going to go away. People are just saying, hey, I want to take out my money right now because I want to get cash, versus I don't believe in crypto. Crypto will never work. It's a fad. It'll never last. People are like going, well, I want to buy a car too, but I'm not going to buy a car because the economy is going to go bad. That's all they're saying here. Yep. And when they come back, it'll be here. But now going back to the CPI and why that's important, you just have people who are looking at a system that says inflation is outpacing your salary by over 4%. The feds are going to put the pressure on to cause the economy to crash. If you only have dollars in your bank, you are really taking a gamble.
Your hands are tied. Your hands are tied. And to someone out there that is still skeptical because all you know is the US dollar, and I get it. I trust me, I get it. I've lived my whole life on the US dollar. This is the only glimpse of time, not even a year yet, that I've even considered some sort of income from not the US dollar, from a cryptocurrency. And I'll be flat out honest, still, not even a year into it, my head, it's so tough to adopt, even though I see all of the obvious difficulties with the US dollar, what we're talking about, the CPI, the inflation, the whole nine. But what you were saying, I remember a time when my parents didn't have a cell phone, when they didn't have a debit card. And to me, I was like, are you out of your mind? There's no other way to live. So that's the same, what I'm doing, and adopting the belief and I guess trust. And because it's so new, that is the same thing as my parents saying, no, not a debit card. No, not a cell phone. It's the same thing. And I've told you this story before. My mom had to teach my granddad, who I never met, how to use the rotary phone with your finger. And she would say, this is how you do it. This is how you dial a number. And he asked, what finger do I use? That's how you see the transitions. And that's what we're looking at the end of the day, regardless if I am kind of shaky on crypto or I'm not sure or whatever. At the end of the day, my why for this all is I truly believe in the technology. I absolutely believe that will be here, and that's why I'm still here. That's it. That's a good way to close it out. I think so too. That was actually pretty good. I didn't even cue the music. We were
I didn't know what the song was. I was trying to cue it. Which one is it?
No, that was good. It's the top one. That's the top one.
Daydreaming?
Daydreaming, yes.
Okay. So what was good there is it brings us back to why we called the show Groundhogs Day. This has happened in every generation.
True.
Every technology.
True.
And we just happen to be, you and I, we happen to be in a place where, I bet you your parents wish that they'd known someone who'd say, hey, you want to get into this debit card thing? I think it's going to be big.
Right.
What? I just make the plastic cards. I don't think that's going to happen. So that's where we are. We're in the plastic card world. We're not in the, hey, I invested in Bank of America.
Right.
No, I invested in the plastic card maker.
Right.
Right. And this is Groundhogs Day for that reason. It's just a new technology. And we think, based on the data, we're in the right place. But it's hard to be motivated for something when nothing else tells you that it's right. But I had to go through that before. This is your first time.
Sure.
The internet, fat chance the internet's ever going to do anything for years. I'm working at AOL. It ain't going to work. Internet's going to go away. We sat there in fear that the internet was going to fail.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, nothing is perfect. I've grown up with the internet. It was never I'm going to adopt the internet. For me, crypto is, I'm going to adopt it. It's a conscious decision. The internet's always been there. I was born in 89. And I guess at the end of the day, the internet's an incredible thing. But of course, bad things can happen to you on the internet. Bad things can happen to you in crypto. Bad things can happen to you on the road with a car. Bad things can happen anywhere, but great things can happen anywhere too. What a friggin' wrap up. That was good. If this is your first time here, every Thursday, Friday, we drop a show on your face where we're documenting our journey, building financial power. If you're feeling squirrely, slide on by. Potter, you got anything in closing?
You did it great.
Well, fantastic. Builders, keep building.
Game on. I forgot that.